under the breeze. Sip with me. I'll pour it hot, so hot. I'll pour it sweet, so sweet. Spilling his tea, spilling and sipping his tea, spilling and sipping his tea. Thanks for watching me, tuning in, subscribing, hitting that like, smash that like. I don't bite, no. It's Yolanda Degree, feeling great, spilling tea. Have a seat and join me. Sip some tea, unwind with me. Let's grab a snack and talk some smack. I'm your girl, I got your back. I got the news, I got the views. I bet you can't wait, I know you can't wait to sip this tea. Sip this tea. Spilling this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Thanks for watching me, tuning in, subscribing, hitting that like, smash that like. I don't bite, no. It's Yolanda Degree, shining bright, set the stage. Hollywood dreams, red carpet scenes, glitter and glow, the secrets I know. Drama with flair, I serve it rare. I got the scoop, I got the proof. I know you can't wait, so come and escape and sip this tea. Sip with me. Spilling this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling 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 and sipping this tea. It's Yolanda Degree. Sip with me. I'll pour it hot, so hot. I'll pour it sweet, so sweet. Spilling this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling and sipping this tea. Thanks for watching me, tuning in, subscribing, hitting that like, smash that like. I don't bite, no. It's Yolanda Degree, feeling great, spilling tea. Have a seat and join me. Sip some tea, unwind with me. Let's grab a snack and talk some smack. I'm your girl, I got your back. I got the news, I got the views. I bet you can't wait, I know you can't wait to sip this tea. Sip this tea. Spilling this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Thanks for watching me, tuning in, subscribing, hitting that like, smash that like. I don't bite, no. It's Yolanda Degree, shining bright, set the stage. Hollywood dreams, red carpet scenes, glitter and glow, the secrets I know. Drama with flair, I serve it rare. I got the scoop, I got the proof. I know you can't wait, so come and escape and sip this tea. Sip with me. Spilling this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling this tea, spilling this tea, spilling this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling and sipping this tea.
What's up, y'all? I'm back on my Epstein mess. I ain't gonna cuss. I'm gonna try to practice not cussing. But we're gonna get into some things. We're gonna talk about Zorro Ranch. I'm gonna take y'all back to 2019 when he first went to jail. I'm gonna show y'all who he actually purchased that ranch from. I'm gonna show y'all who purchased the ranch off of the estate. I'm gonna show y'all a lot of shit. We're going to actually go into the diary of the young lady that was a survivor of Epstein, the one that had allegedly had the baby. So we're going to get into a lot of things. I did get a piece of a documentary. It was way too good. We're going to have to do a part 2 because I don't want to push it to the point where my channel, for a copyright. I don't want to get that. But this documentary on Zorro Ranch was everything. And I mean everything. So let me bring up my screen. We're going to start it off with the documentary. Hold on, y'all. Okay. Let me make sure it come up here. YouTube was giving me a little bit of problems earlier. Okay. Boom. We got it up here. Let's go, Diamond Gang. Let me make my screen big. This documentary was everything.
Epstein was finally arrested in 2019. His $77 million mansion was raided by the FBI. And after sawing open his safe, they found $70,000 in cash, 48 loose diamonds, a fake Saudi Arabian passport, and a bunch of CDs with writing on them. They also found boxes of hard drives.
Now, let me say this. Out of all the properties that he had, Zorro Ranch was the only property that was not, they didn't raid it. They didn't get any evidence. They didn't do nothing with Zorro Ranch. It just sat there, y'all. They did nothing. But I'm going to show y'all what he was doing on that ranch. And y'all ain't going to believe it. Y'all ain't gonna believe it.
To be clear, before the feds busted in, Epstein's stuff was already covered in evidence tape. Weird. I know. Epstein's island and Florida mansion were also raided. In his Florida pad, they found a fully equipped dentist chair and other odd items like torpedo sex toys. However, most of the assets on the...
Now remember, that dentist chair was in there for his girlfriend. Remember.
Island were seized by the feds and never disclosed to the public. But Epstein had another property, one that has gone largely unnoticed. It sits undisturbed, underreported, and largely unheard of by the public. Why was Epstein's island, Florida mansion, and New York mansion all raided by the FBI quickly after his arrest, but his 33,000 square foot property in New Mexico remains untouched? This is Jeffrey Epstein's.
Now, let me tell you guys this as well. They are conducting an investigation on that ranch. Mexico has decided to investigate. However, they only gave them $2 million to do this. And when I go through these clips, and you guys are going to see what they need to investigate this, $2 million is not enough. It's not enough. Let's go.
Zorro Ranch.
On my own island, or on my own ranch, I can think the thoughts I want to think. I can do the work I want to do. I'm free to explore as I see fit.
Whom he apparently had a sexual fetish for, according to one of his former employees. An unsurprising find considering the disturbing emails released in February of 2023. The emails were between Epstein and Jess Staley, a JP Morgan Chase executive, in which they made suggestive references to Disney princesses. This 7,600 acres of land was merely a cattle ranch before Epstein bought it. And when he built a castle-sized mansion on top of it, people started asking questions.
No one really knew what was going on. It was secretive, so everyone
Now, I want y'all to pay attention because who he purchased this ranch off of, they're connected.
spoke with in that vicinity. I got to know a number of ranch families in that area, and the rumors were that it was a cult, some kind of a cult, because they had seen nothing like this.
So they seen suspicious activity, but nobody said nothing. Nobody.
A lot of local folks that I spoke with told me that they assumed that Epstein was like the owner of Victoria's Secret.
One of the many debaucherous behaviors of Epstein was his proclivity towards bizarre artwork. From his painting of George Bush.
Now pay attention to this shit. The artwork that he had in his house, I particularly want y'all to pay attention to this because he got some artwork of Ghislaine Maxwell. And I told y'all, she aged out. She started to look mature. She didn't look young. Peep this, y'all. Peep this.
Bush destroying 2 toy towers with paper airplanes, to the painting of Bill Clinton in a dress.
This weirdo had a painting of Bill Clinton in a freaking blue dress. A blue dress, y'all. A blue dress.
His artwork can really make you question the mainstream narratives that we've been fed. Both of these paintings were found in his New York property, but his New Mexico mansion had decor of its own. We have obtained a photo of a never before seen painting from Epstein's collection. One that has been withheld from the public.
Who y'all think that is? That's Ghislaine. Peep this shit.
You are looking at a massive 6 foot by 6 foot nude painting of a young Ghislaine Maxwell. The painting,
again, a young Ghislaine Maxwell. She aged out.
Shows her sprawled out on a large chair, wielding a golden dagger. She seems to be brandishing her weapon as she stares ominously back at the viewer. This photo came from a former contractor of Epstein, someone who worked on his ranch in the early 2000s.
And there was a couple of those paintings of her, and they were downstairs.
What did the other one look like?
Pretty much the same thing, but different scene, but with her legs open.
Listen, I got 72 in the building. Can y'all please hit the like? Because I'm going to take y'all on a ride.
Eddie Aragon, a New Mexico local radio host and former Albuquerque mayoral candidate, has been researching Epstein's connections to the state for years now. He's spoken with several sources connected to Epstein. And today, he's agreed to speak with us.
All right, let's hop to it, guys.
Now we get ready to go through the floor plan of this house. The floor plan. This shit is crazy. When y'all see this floor plan, it's going to trip y'all out. The windows was so small, there was no way they could escape this ranch. No way.
All right. We have the floor plan to the basements.
That's where the painting was located. And then as you go out, you see the large grotto area, which is a large bathhouse.
Among the other underground amenities was a 1,000 square foot nightclub, complete with stripper poles and hidden cameras.
Do you call it the sex room?
Listen, I said this many times in my previous lives. He kept a record of everything. I'm telling you, what he had at this ranch could possibly put people behind bars. I'm sure of it.
Because everything in that room was kind of like a big living room. And you've got one of the pictures, and the resolution isn't good enough to tell, but everything in that room was sex related. So the art on the walls, the embroidery on the furniture, the lamps, the little sculptures, it was all people fucking and just it was themed, definitely themed.
They likely did this to desensitize the viewer. You see, it was all an elaborate scheme, and everything was precisely placed for a strategic reason, something we'll expound upon later. Epstein's ranch was designed in such a way that everything was filmed.
Everything. He had multiple cameras, multiple camera rooms. Can y'all imagine what he had just alone on the ranch?
According to Maria Farmer, former employee and...
Now, remember Maria and her sister. They was the first ones to tell on him. They were the first ones. She was abused, and then she found out that Jeffrey Epstein was abusing her younger sister. This is the woman that made most of those paintings that's in his house. She painted those paintings, y'all.
Victim of Epstein, the entire estate was covered in pinhole cameras to spy on guests. Farmer also stated that the mansion had 3 house-sized computer rooms packed with surveillance equipment. She said these underground
Y'all know how much surveillance camera, I mean, you couldn't do shit in that house. Nothing. You couldn't even blink without being on camera.
drives covered in evidence tape. To be clear,
sorry, I took it up to
disturbing emails released. Considering the disturbing emails released,
let me take it back. I'm sorry.
Mansion had decor of its own. We have obtained a photo of a never before seen painting.
Let me go up again. Sorry, I took it back to
downstairs.
What did the other one look like?
Pretty much the same thing, but different scene, but with her legs open.
Eddie Aragon, a New Mexico local radio host and former Albuquerque mayoral candidate, has been researching Epstein's connections to the state for years now. He's spoken with several sources connected to Epstein, and today he's agreed to speak with us.
All right, let's hop to it, guys.
All right, we have the floor plan to the basement.
That's where the painting was located, and then as you go out, you see the large grotto area, which is a large bathhouse.
Among the other underground amenities was a 1,000 square foot nightclub, complete with stripper poles and hidden cameras.
You call it the sex room because everything in that room was kind of like a big living room. And you've got one of the pictures, and the resolution isn't good enough to tell, but everything in that room was sex related. So the art on the walls, the embroidery on the furniture, the lamps.
And by the time I get done with this video, y'all gonna understand why he had all of his decor was all in regards to sex.
The little sculptures, it was all people fucking and just it was themed, definitely themed.
They likely did this to desensitize the viewer. You see, it was all an elaborate scheme, and everything was precisely placed for a strategic reason, something we'll expound upon later. Epstein's ranch was designed in such a way that everything was filmed. According to Maria Farmer, former employee and...
Again, y'all, that's who made the paintings. She was the first whistleblower on Epstein, her and her younger sister. She went to work for him. This is the one that said when she went to go see Epstein, Trump thought she was there for him. And Epstein told Trump, no, she's not here for you. And Trump said, I thought she was 16.
The entire estate...
Trump said, I thought she was 16. This is her right here.
Was covered in pinhole cameras to spy on guests. Farmer also stated that the mansion had 3 house-sized computer rooms packed with surveillance equipment. She said these underground mechanical rooms, as well as tunnel systems, were in each...
Y'all hear that? Tunnel systems. Tunnel systems. They had tunnels underneath there.
One of Epstein's properties, because he himself told her. We got our hands on the architecture plans for Epstein's New Mexico property, and while they didn't contain any signs of underground tunnels, they did corroborate the claim that the property had 3 massive mechanical rooms. The plans date back to 1998, 5 years after Epstein bought the property. They also corroborate the claim of a huge underground floor, 8,000 square
underground floor. There's an underground floor.
feet.
Wait till y'all see who he bought this property off of. It was a very prominent family with the last name King. They're in politics as well. Let's go. And he was on the black book list. Let's go.
Which includes exercise, massage, and jacuzzi rooms.
It's a real life or real life whorehouse. HOR or really was for the way it looks. I mean, you were to film.
And there's a reason why he had those rooms like that and everything for what he was doing at this ranch.
A bad horror movie, that would be a good place to film it. It's scary as all get out.
The setup of the bedrooms in the house was another point of strangeness. It had just 4 bedrooms, an oddly small number.
Pay attention to these windows. You couldn't fit your goddamn arm through these windows.
Relative to the massive 33,000 square foot house.
Did you guys notice how well constructed those windows were? And they're like cast iron on the frames. It was very bizarre, right? It's like, why are those windows so small? And it looks very architecturally, perspective of the Spanish colonial or Spanish, no, like people were imprisoned up there. They couldn't get out. Like you tried to draw up how, in a Pac-Man sort of way, how these people could get out of those. There's no way that they could have got out. There's one place up, one place down. Those bedrooms were located right above Ghislaine Maxwell's area where she worked.
Epstein bought the land from the King family.
All right, pay attention. This is the King family. Now, let me tell you this. He bought it off of someone in politics, and it was sold to someone in politics. This man that purchased the ranch looked creepy as hell, y'all. Let's go. This is the one he bought it from, though.
The Kings are a notoriously powerful New Mexico agricultural and political dynasty that included then.
Look at that. That's the King family. Look at that. They look like Mormons. Yeah, I guess that's what you
Governor Bruce King, a name which coincidentally pops up in Epstein's Black Book.
So he was in the Black Book. There you go, right there. King, Bruce King. This is who he purchased this ranch from, y'all. Bruce King.
Zorro's deal included the rights to the King's leases on public lands, a total of 1,100.
Sorry, that's another thing, too. He was leasing it. He didn't buy it. He was leasing it. Let me apologize for that.
159 acres rented for $872.22 per year. It is worth noting.
Did you hear that? $872 per year to rent this ranch. Okay.
Noting that Epstein was already connected to the Kings, as he previously donated over $50,000 in campaign funds to the family. The King family.
So that's how he got in. He donated $50,000 to the campaign. They then, in terms, leased this property out to him. Now, I want y'all just please pay attention. Pay attention.
The family still owns all the land surrounding Epstein's property, completely insulating it from the outside world.
That is, I can tell you this, by design.
As time went on, new people came into power, and the New Mexico state government took action. In 2019, Epstein's property agreement came to an end, as the New Mexico State Land Commissioner tore up his papers on camera.
Today,
look at
with
this.
that authority, we are officially canceling the leases with the Zorro Ranch.
They was happy as hell to get him off that ranch. I'm going to read this to y'all. Epstein's most disturbing property was not the island. It was Zorro Ranch, and it was. The 7,500-acre New Mexico ranch sat on public land leased for just $200 a year. It featured a private airstrip, underground tunnels, hidden rooms, and bizarre decor. Victims testified that abuse occurred at the isolated, heavily secured compound, yet the property was never raided, and the investigation was stalled. It was stalled. Okay, let's go to the next one. The ranch was discreetly sold through layers of shell companies. Do y'all hear that? Shell companies after Epstein's arrest. Wait till y'all see who bought it. Its full purpose and secrets may never be uncovered due to lack of thorough search. Unlike Little St. James Island, Zorro Ranch was hidden in plain sight on U.S. soil. It symbolized how power, privacy, and public land were exploited to conceal crimes. Remember, they're saying that 2 women were buried there. Foreigners. Why was a potential crime scene of this scale never properly examined by authorities? Let's now this I'm sorry, I ain't read the last one. This is Jeffrey Epstein. He's going to tell y'all why he purchased this ranch. I want y'all to pay attention. He's going to say the word scientist. I need y'all to pay attention. because later on down the line, we're going to go into how he was dealing with multiple scientists for this house.
Back up. So why did I buy a ranch in New Mexico in 1993? So that gives you some sense. So I would have funded it in 1990. Los Alamos, which was the high energy lab up in New Mexico, was losing all its scientists.
And Los Alamos, it was where Oppenheimer and where a lot of the nuclear weapons program, the bomb.
That's where the Manhattan Project.
Manhattan Project was
yes,
as Los Alamos, and you bought your property out in New Mexico to be near that?
Yes, because the scientists were going to be, they cut the funding for.
You hear it? The scientists. Pay attention. He got to those scientists, a bunch of them, prominent, he got to them.
High energy physics. But the people who worked in Los Alamos would still be in the Santa Fe area.
They cut that because this was the Cold War dividend, right?
I don't remember exactly why. It was because, again, people thought that physics and high energy physics really wasn't that important.
Because that was about nuclear weapons.
No, it was because they decided it was maybe not right. This was the same time.
He's bullshitting this man. He wanted to connect with them scientists. And I know y'all heard the rumors, alleged babies and things like that. This is insane.
That Murray Gell-Mann came up with the term quark, Q-U-A-R-K. He picked it out of an old poem, the word quark. But it was mysterious. So they were starting to understand in the 90s that in our world of the physics world, there was things that were just unexplainable. They called it strange things. You gave it a name. You gave it some characteristics. You called it had charm. Was one of the terms. It had a charm, it had a flavor, it had a color. But no one, Mr. Bannon, understood what it was. Just like the financial system.
And you wanted to investigate that.
I wanted to see if we could build tools so others smarter than me could help investigate it.
And that was the beginning of your concept of the Santa Fe Institute.
That's a lie. That was his whole cover-up of his reason of buying the ranch.
Yes.
And Santa Fe Institute was founded to do study in this type of.
Can these areas of strange things be described by some form of mathematics?
I only knew Jeffrey Epstein for 5 days during a trip to Zorro Ranch.
This is Jane Doe, okay? She's a survivor and she suffered abuse on a ranch.
His massive compound surrounded by government land in the New Mexico desert. Epstein took my sexual innocence in front of a wall of framed photographs of him shaking hands and smiling with celebrities and political leaders. I was only 15 years old. After, he wanted to talk with me about what had just been my first sexual experience, and directed me to take time to myself that night to cry. He said that would be beneficial to my growth.
I don't know why, but for some reason, I think she's still unknown. The girl that wrote the diary. And I do have a piece of that diary, but we'll see that at the end. It's going to be towards the end.
After this, we had a long talk about my future goals. I told him that I wanted to go to college to study biochemistry. He said that he wanted to give me money for college.
That's how he got all his girls. He paid for green cards. He paid for them to go to school.
Asked me how much money I thought he should give me. At 15 years old, living in northern Michigan with my mother, stepfather, and grandfather, I had no idea how to respond to a billionaire who had just raped me.
I'm standing by what you.
All right, gang, we getting ready to go over the investigation, the money, the finances, what they need to be able to do this. And it's going to be way more than $2 million. They need way more than $2 million.
Used to be Zorro Ranch, Jeffrey Epstein's massive property in New Mexico. And as of now, no one's really investigated exactly what happened here. Zorro Ranch is in Stanley, New Mexico, about 30 miles southeast of Santa Fe, essentially in the middle of nowhere. Epstein owned the property from the early 1990s up until 2023. and some people have accused him and others of wrongdoing at the ranch. Zorro Ranch is mentioned multiple times in the Epstein files, including an account by late
So that's what I'm saying. Survivors mentioned the ranch. It's in the files, but they never touched this goddamn property. They never touched it.
survivor Virginia Giuffre.
Many of the survivors had experiences in New Mexico, and as we've learned, there were local politicians and other people that were aware of what was happening in New Mexico. So it's really important that at this point in time, a closer look is taken with respect to that property.
New Mexico State Representatives Andrea Romero and Mariana Anaya put forth a resolution to set up a truth commission on Zorro Ranch. And on Monday, the New Mexico House passed that measure. The bipartisan group will investigate allegations of abuse.
One of the representatives is going to speak towards the end of this clip. I need y'all to pay attention to this. You're not going to believe what she say out her mouth.
Assault and trafficking at Zorro Ranch. Epstein died in what was ruled a suicide in a New York jail in 2019 while facing federal sex trafficking charges. When I asked lawmakers why there had never been an investigation into Zorro Ranch before, their big answer was, we don't know.
He was a known sort of...
we don't know. That's not an answer.
Gallivanter, ladies' man around town. They called his ranch the Playboy Ranch of Santa Fe. That we know very little, if nothing, about, and certainly not a lot that the news has reported on. And what has been reported on is nothing short of alarming. And so, for any sense of justice to be had, we have to tell the truth. We have to tell the story of what happened here.
So that flew under the radar all those years. All those years. Even though it was in the files, even though it was reported. Now, this is another representative. She's going to go into details what they're going to do. And then after this clip, we're going to get into the cost of this investigation.
Hey, everyone. Well, happy President's Day. I am coming to you from New Mexico with breaking news in the Epstein investigation. And that is that tonight, the New Mexico State Legislature passed legislation to convene a truth commission to investigate Epstein's crimes here in our state, beginning tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. in our state capitol. This bill, House Resolution 1, was led by State House Representative Andrea Romero of Santa Fe and State House Representative Mariana Anaya of Albuquerque, and will help to bring forward a full picture of what happened here in New Mexico with Epstein's crimes to understand why the crimes that were reported.
Sorry. Also, we're going to get into the employee that reported the two women. The two women that's supposed to be buried there.
To federal and state authorities were never fully investigated, and to ensure that we have safeguards in place to not only hold those individuals accountable who were complicit, but to ensure that this can never happen again in our state. So we want to say thank you to our state legislators for leading on this legislation, which is not only vital as a larger part of our investigation at the federal level through our congressional inquiries and the Epstein Files Transparency Act, but also because it is an important piece of understanding what happened in our state, including at Zorro Ranch. I also want to say this was a completely bipartisan effort and passed the New Mexico legislature unanimously with 62 votes, showing that ensuring that we are holding our leaders accountable and investigating these crimes is not a partisan issue. And as always,
we're the only country that's not doing anything about this. The United States is the only country. All the other countries, if they had any type of prominent leaders that had any type of involvement, they're losing their jobs and they're being called to the carpet.
New Mexico is leading the way. Now, Jeffrey Epstein purchased Zorro Ranch in New Mexico in 1993. He purchased nearly 10,000 acres from former Governor Bruce King, and also included a parcel adjacent to it that he leased from state lands. Over the years, beginning in the early 1990s, there were allegations that were reported not only to state and local officials, but the FBI of sexual assault happening.
Y'all hear that? There was reports to the FBI They chose not to investigate it.
On that property. And what we do not fully understand at this time is why those crimes were never fully investigated, who knew about them, who was complicit in them, and ultimately why nobody was ever held accountable. That property was held by Jeffrey Epstein until his death in 2019 and was sold in 2023 to a limited liability company. Now, what is particularly interesting is over the last several days, there has been new breaking news that the Santa Fe, New Mexican broke of who purchased that property.
I'm about to show y'all who purchased this property. Again, somebody connected, a politician.
Just 2 years ago. In fact, it is now known that the individual who purchased Zorro Ranch in 2023 is a billionaire businessman from Texas who is also a former state senator named Donald Huffines.
Y'all hear that? The cover-up is real.
Now, what is interesting is that Mr. Huffines is also running for public office to be the state comptroller in Texas.
I'm also going to show you guys his reason in purchasing, and you're not going to believe this.
And used an LLC as a shell company to purchase that property through his wife as a trustee. It is also interesting to note that his son is currently serving as a high-level political appointee in the Trump administration in
You hear that? Trump.
the White House at the current moment. Now, we don't know if these ties mean anything, but what we do know is that this property is a property in which multiple survivors have reported abuse, including several known survivors and several known FBI files, in addition to several crimes that have never been investigated, including crimes against girls, boys, men, and women, and an uninvestigated crime in which a tip was called into a radio station and ultimately the FBI, in which it was alleged that 2 foreign women who were trafficked to New Mexico.
Let me say this. If I decide to come back, the part of that documentary that I showed y'all in the beginning, they actually tracked down the FBI and got nowhere. They brushed them men off. They brushed them off.
Mexico were killed during a sex act and potentially buried on the property. Our state land commissioner, Stephanie Garcia Richards, has called for a full investigation, and the New Mexico Attorney General has requested all of the FBI and
you best believe if they found those 2 women, it's more than just those 2 women on that land. That's still owned by the King family surrounding it. The King family owns all the land surrounding that ranch.
Federal files to begin investigating these crimes. But we want to know what happened on this ranch, why these crimes were never investigated, and to ensure that we have in place the laws, the policies, and the accountability to ensure that nothing like this can ever happen again in our state. So I want to say thank you to all of our state leaders who are leading the way once again here in New Mexico. We are so grateful for everything that you are doing, and we will be there every step of the way.
There they go, right there, y'all. Hold on, let me pause it. That's the dude right there.
Now you have plans
Let me take it back. Let me take it back. I wanted to pause
something evil.
Okay, hold on.
Who are leading the way once again here in New Mexico. We are so grateful for everything that you are doing, and we will be there every step of the way.
Bingo. There you go right there underneath. That's his wife, and that's him. That's them. That's the couple that purchased it, whose son is working for the Trump administration. Let's go.
Now you have plans to take something
y'all.
evil and bring it into goodness, bring it into light. And
This is him. He's getting ready to tell y'all why he bought this ranch. You're not going to believe this shit. Yeah, please, y'all, hit the like.
positivity. Tell us about that plan.
Well, of course, that is the main reason I bought the property. This was obviously a dark place. and we wanted to put light in a dark place. It always shines the brightest when you do that. My faith is so strong in Jesus, and it really is. And I'm going to make this, the plan all along is to make this property into a Christian.
Put a 1 in the chat if y'all believe him. Please. Put a 1 in the chat if y'all believe him. Come on, man. He full of shit. That's my opinion. Let's go.
Retreat. As a matter of fact, it's under construction today. And that's our goal. That's why we named it St. Raphael. We named it St. Raphael, as you probably know,
negative behind it.
An archangel, and what he does and helps people with is.
Let me take a moment to laugh at y'all. Y'all are funny. Hell no, 0. I know that's right. He full of shit.
Healing and being the healer, and also blessing those that are traveling. And we think that's really germane to this property.
New Mexico lawmakers launched an official investigation this past week into Zorro Ranch, the nearly 10,000-acre property once owned by convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, and believed to be one of the sites where he trafficked and sexually abused girls. Here's what we know about the investigation so far in 60 seconds. While Epstein's island in the Caribbean and his Palm Beach estate have been at the center of the media storm and investigation into Epstein's crimes, Zorro Ranch has been left relatively unscathed. The ranch is about 30 miles south of Santa Fe. It was owned by Epstein from 1993 until his death in 2019. It was mentioned numerous times in the Epstein files released by the Department of Justice over the past few months. In one file, Bryce Gordon, the ranch's former manager, told the FBI that—
Here we go. This is the guy that told on him. Okay, this is the guy, the former employee that told on him.
That Epstein flew in guests and masseuses to the ranch. A separate file included an anonymous email in which someone alleged that 2, quote, foreign girls were buried in the hills near the ranch on the, quote, orders of Jeffrey and Madam G. Victims, including Virginia Giuffre and Annie Farmer, claimed in memoirs and testimony
That's the sisters right there. Again, I showed y'all the 2 sisters. The one was working for Epstein. Like I said, she painted most of that artwork. She did that artwork. When she found out that her sister was being abused by Ghislaine and Jeff, that's when they told. The FBI did not take them serious.
Experienced abuse at the ranch. With the new Truth Committee created by the New Mexico investigation, lawmakers will deploy their subpoena power, hear survivor testimony, and sift through official documents, all in hopes of creating a complete story of the ranch's history.
The email came from an encrypted account.
This is it right here. This is going to break down how much it costs to investigate. And I'm going to stop it again, and I'm going to take a vote. $2 million, in my opinion, is not enough. Okay? Let's get into it.
Claims to have been a former staff member at Zorro Ranch, and it reads in part, quote, "What is damning about Jeffrey Epstein is yet to be written. Did you know somewhere in the hills outside the Zorro, 2 foreign girls were buried on orders of Jeffrey and Madam G," meaning Ghislaine Maxwell? Look, I have no idea if these allegations are true. We don't even know about when this would have happened. But let's say it is taken to the point where authorities want to excavate the property in the surrounding area. How do they even go about it? What do they use? Ground penetrating devices?
Y'all ready? Y'all ready? They can tell us right here.
Yeah, it's a Herculean undertaking. We're talking about almost 8,000 acres, Jesse. And not to mention the state land that surrounds this area that has been termed as a buffer area, quite interestingly enough. So yeah, first off, you have to start off in the air, and this thing's going to have to be broken down into grids.
You hear that? Start off in the air and break it down in grids. Okay? They only got $2 million set to the side for this investigation.
You're going to have to use multiple teams. And I can tell you this, you're going to have the top people in their field. We're not just talking about FBI agents, evidence response teams. We're talking about forensic anthropologists are going to have to go out there and do surveys along.
Forensic anthropologists. $2 million is not enough. Let's go.
With geologists to try to pick up on the little nuances of change that take place out there. It's going to be a heck of a task.
The Epstein Truth Committee met for the first time today. The group, informally called the Truth Committee, will investigate alleged crimes and abuse connected to Epstein's former Zorro Ranch. The committee aims to provide answers to the public and survivors. Members have questioned why the full extent of activity at Zorro Ranch hasn't been publicly documented, despite reporting on Epstein's crimes.
We can ready to get into what he was doing inside of there.
In New York, Florida, and even his private island. With a $2 million budget, the committee will review evidence, conduct interviews, and analyze new findings. Legal tools, including subpoenas, will be used if key individuals do not cooperate. The committee may also propose legislation to prevent and punish crimes and strengthen protections for children. They're also reviewing gaps in New Mexico's law. For example, the ones that may have allowed Epstein to operate without registering as a sex offender.
Y'all hear that? I specifically sent this one. In New Mexico, he was not obligated to register as a sex offender. Let me take that back again. This is crazy. Let's go.
Epstein's crimes in New York, Florida, and even his private island. With a $2 million budget, the committee will review evidence, conduct interviews, and analyze new findings. Legal tools, including subpoenas, will be used if key individuals do not cooperate. The committee may also propose legislation to prevent and punish crimes and strengthen protections for children. They're also reviewing gaps in New Mexico's law. For example, the ones that may have allowed Epstein to operate without registering as a sex offender here in the state.
They dropped the ball right there just alone. They dropped the ball right there just alone. He wasn't even registered. This was after his 1-year stint when he got that baby smack on the wrist.
Unlike how we had to register in Florida, the bipartisan committee includes 2 Republicans.
So he was registered in Florida, but not New Mexico. I'll be down.
And 2 Democrats. All findings must be agreed by both parties before public release. Plans include launching a website for the public to track findings and submit tips. The committee is already working with the DOJ and has forwarded various leads and tips they have received.
All right, who in the chat think they got enough? 2 million is enough. Put a 1 in the chat if you think it's enough. Put a 2 in the chat if you think they're going to need more than $2 million. They could spend that in a day. That's crazy.
Something people do not talk enough about is...
Y'all ready? Y'all ready to hear
that
this
Epstein
shit?
was obsessed with a certain type of eugenics, and he wanted to seed the human race with his DNA by impregnating women at his New Mexico ranch. Like, it's so weird.
Okay, y'all ready? This is what he was doing on his ranch. This is what he was doing on his ranch. This dude was a freaking disgusting... Ugh.
Legislation to prevent and punish crimes and strengthen protections for children. They're also reviewing gaps in New Mexico's law. For example, the ones that may have allowed Epstein to operate without registering as a sex offender here in the state, unlike how we had to register in Florida. The bipartisan committee includes 2 Republicans and 2 Democrats.
I promise y'all, when I get done showing this, I'll go to the comments and read some of your comments. They don't need any money. People would investigate for free. I do believe people would volunteer.
All findings must be agreed by both parties before public release. Plans include launching a website for the public.
I agree. They do need to add 2 more zeros. Keep the comments coming, y'all.
To track findings and submit tips. The committee is already working with the DOJ and has forwarded various leads and tips they have received.
All right,
something people do not talk enough about is that Epstein was obsessed with a certain type of eugenics, and he wanted to...
Eugenics. This is it. Bingo. Pay attention. Eugenics. This is what he was doing.
Seed the human race with his DNA by impregnating women at his New Mexico ranch. Like, it's so weird. And we know all of this because Epstein had so many friends in the science community that he would talk to about this.
Again, remember I told y'all, pay attention to the word science. He had those scientists on lock. You understand what I'm saying? And he allegedly has multiple children. Let's go.
And they said his goal was to have 20 women at a time impregnated at his Zorro Ranch home, which you've done a lot of reporting on in New Mexico. I guess he was specifically obsessed with a type of eugenics called transhumanism. It sounds like kind of like a gene editing type thing. And he actually spent so much time on this. He had an office at Harvard's program for evolutionary dynamics.
He had an office at Harvard. Look at all of these scientists. that were intertwined with Jeffrey Epstein.
He had a designated officer that was his, and he would visit so regularly, even after he was a convicted, registered sex offender. He was going to this college campus up to 40 times a year. And being around these college kids. And other scientists said the prospect of his donations kind of blind.
Yeah, I hear that. Some more donations, just like he gave the King family $50,000 for their campaign. This is what he do.
Blinded them to the seriousness of his crimes. They turned a blind eye to how insane his scientific musings were. They call him an intellectual imposter because he had nothing to really back up his thoughts. But these were
they called him an imposter, intellectual imposter.
Scientists at some of the top institutions like Harvard, MIT, Stanford, Cambridge, and in these latest emails, the number has gone up to 30 top scientists that he was in communication with about
30 top scientists. I showed y'all. He said he told that man he was purchasing that ranch for a whole different reason. He told some of the truth, and the majority of what he was saying was bullshit and lies. This is what he need those scientists for.
This bizarre eugenics proposition.
Jeffrey Epstein had a secret child who was taken from its.
Now we're getting to the end, y'all. I only do 45-minute lives, but this is in regards to him supposedly having that secret child. We're going to get into that woman's diary. This is going to be the last piece. Let's go.
Teenage mother at birth. This according to newly unearthed documents from the investigation into Epstein's crimes. Buried in the latest batch of the Epstein files are claims that Epstein fathered multiple children, including one by a teenager. In an anonymous diary entry, a woman describes how at 16 or 17 years old,
this is what he was doing at Zorro Ranch. This is what he was doing.
She gave birth to a baby who was taken away from her just moments after delivery. Included is a copy of a pregnancy scan dated to 20 weeks gestation. She alleges Ghislaine Maxwell supervised the birth and writes that Epstein told her he wanted to create a superior gene pool.
That's what he was doing with those scientists. This is what he was doing at the ranch, trying to create this gene pool. Sick shit.
It was shared by the woman's lawyers with federal prosecutors investigating Epstein and Maxwell. The Times was able to confirm the woman's real name, but has chosen to protect her identity. I was not able to verify the woman's claims, and if true, what happened to the newborn. It's never been publicly confirmed that Epstein fathered any children, and there's no mention of any offspring in a will he drew up in the years before his 2019 death.
Why would he mention those kids in the will? That's admission of guilt. Yeah, I got 50 kids. Okay. By all these females that I kidnapped and sold and trafficked. Yeah, right.
In a New York prison cell. But several names in the will have been redacted.
One of Epstein's young victims kept a secret diary, and this is part 2 of a series looking at what she wrote in code and using magazine clippings to document the brutality of her experience, which included forced pregnancies, being given to other couples, and of children who she said were being called prostitutes. But she notes that they couldn't be prostitutes because they were too young to give consent. These entries are heartbreaking, and I wanted to read one. Her voice is worth us all listening to.
Trigger warning. Trigger warning. This is the last bit of my clips. I will take comments after.
In code, in her sparkly blue spiral notebook on April 22nd of a year that we don't know which one it was, she writes, I had no choice. I wasn't ready and she wasn't ready. My mother had found me and it was urgent. After so many bonding moments with Jeffrey and Ghislaine, their baby inside of me, in the middle, she wouldn't even look at me. She said nothing to one another and I was so confused. When we arrived at Palm Beach, I was taken to a house close to Jeffrey's, I think called Ocean Boulevard or Street, but it was close and I was alone in all capital letters, except for a new driver, not Mr. Juan, an elderly French woman whose pictures were on the wall with a thick accent and was kind. She said that she was born to deliver babies and had been doing so before I was born. Similar to the last one with the shot and the hook and too much blood and water and unbearable pain. She put her hands inside me to see, and she seemed worried. I didn't understand. Something about the baby facing wrong and putting pressure on the placenta, ? Things would have to be different.
I really wanted to bring those pictures over here, but I'm like, it was just too graphic, y'all. Too graphic. Some of them was just the skin of a face with hair attached, stuff that they found.
Said that I had to be brave and strong and listen to her directions so that she could help safely get the baby out. I was terrified. Seeing so much blood on the bed and the floor, I started to panic. She helped me flip over to my hands and my knees and had me push and push. It was so excruciating. I could feel everything as she tried to guide the baby out, but I was so tired. I felt I was dying, but suddenly she caught a beautiful baby girl who made more than a whimper, but beautiful cries. Then she let me hold her and washed her and brought her back clean and perfect. She smelled so good and showed me how to feed her. But only maybe 15 minutes, Mr. M came to take her. I was hysterical, begging for more time. He said those horrible girls were in the car, that I couldn't let her go. The old woman promised me that she would be safe, and I had to let
Oh, sorry, y'all.
go. 4 pounds, 10 ounces, 18.5 inches long, with beautiful long fingers. I am dead inside. Life has no meaning. I don't want to be here. These girls deserve us to be all talking about them. And anybody who is trying to distance themselves from the situation should read these over and over again and think about what you were complicit in.
Period. Boom. All right, let me take the screen down and look at some of y'all comments. That's crazy. That's what he was doing on that ranch, y'all. Trying to do some science, some genetic stuff. It's terrible. Like I said, $2 million is not enough for that investigation. They're going to spend that in no time. In no time. Yeah, gang, please misspell cuss words, please. Let me look through some of these comments. So many other people going to go down for this Epstein stuff. Watch. He is a horrible man, but he got a lot of people that should go down with him. Absolutely. Absolutely. Like, I keep saying I'm going to put this down. I did a live last week. Not many people was here, but I'm like, I can't let it go. I can't. It's so much. It's so much. You said pay attention, not ready for prime time. Who's that to? Maxwell I don't believe it either. I don't know. That comparison of the face was crazy. Like, it was crazy. Just crazy. You could tell, like, the nose and all of that. There's no way. No way. That's just, wow. You can't even make it up, right? Crazy. Listen, I want to say thank you for everybody that came in, hit the like. I appreciate you guys so much. I'm a new content creator. I built this channel, this platform for people to have a voice. You could disagree with me, just don't be disrespectful. That's all. I sometimes drop the link. If anybody want to come up, I'll drop the link. I'm going to drop the link and see if anybody want to add to this conversation before I close out. I do 45-minute lives. At least I try to go 3 times a week. This week I only went twice. But anybody can hit this link. Just please, just don't be disrespectful. And you can add, if I miss something, be my guest. Come up, I love engagement. I do. We could agree to disagree as adults. Oh, you're welcome, Brian. Everybody's not thanking me. Believe me, some people go crazy up in here. It's sad, too. No one in the U.S. is getting arrested because the people in charge are people that committed the sick crimes. I never seen no shit like this in my lifetime. And I'm 53 years old. This is crazy to me, y'all. And somebody came in here last week and said, y'all newbies crack me up. We've been talking about Epstein. I couldn't even lie. I said, you're right. When he first was arrested and got that stop on the wrist, I didn't know who he was. I didn't care who he was back then. But now I'm a little older, you know, I'm paying attention to things more. This is insane. The cover-up is insane. And it's quite embarrassing when you see how other countries are handling this. It's embarrassing. So it's just crazy. But I'm going to go ahead and close out. Sure, nobody want to hit the link? Listen, make sure y'all subscribe. Keep y'all notifications on. My next live stream, I'm pulling every interview, every interrogation that I can on Jeffrey Epstein. I am. Because I want y'all to see how narcissistic this man truly was. He was sick as hell with a sex addiction. Yeah. Up to us to keep pushing out the truth. For too long, the Christians were voiceless. This is, yeah, it's crazy. All right, I guess don't nobody want to hit the link. It's okay. It's okay. But please make sure y'all like, share, subscribe to the channel. And once again, thank you guys for being here. And I want to thank all my beautiful mods. I love y'all for holding me down. All right, y'all. Everybody have a good night.
It's your under degrees. Sip with me. I'll pour it hot, so hot. I'll pour it sweet, so sweet. Spilling his tea, spilling and sipping his tea, spilling and sipping his tea. Thanks for watching me, tuning in, subscribing, hitting that like, smash that like. I don't bite, no. It's your under degree, feeling great, spilling tea. Have a seat and join me. Sip some tea, unwind with me. Let's grab a snack and talk some smack. I'm your girl, I got your back. I got the news, I got the views. I bet you can't wait, I know you can't wait to sip this tea. Sip this tea. Spilling this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Thanks for watching me, tuning in, subscribing, hitting that like, smash that like. I don't bite, no. It's your under degree, shining bright. Set the stage, Hollywood dreams, red carpet scenes, glitter and glow, the secrets I know. Drama with flair, I serve it rare. I got the scoop, I got the proof. I know you can't wait, so come and escape and sip this tea. Sip with me, spilling this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling this tea, spilling this tea, spilling this tea.
Thank you, all of y'all. For the person that said they didn't see the link, I don't know what side you on. I'm running a double live. So I'm on StreamYard and I'm on Vertical. So maybe that's why. But I'll drop the link next time I come on.
Spilling and sipping this tea, spilling and sipping this tea.